In this lesson, we will use the synthetic division method to divide polynomials. The synthetic division method. So step 1, when you have your polynomials in fraction form, whatever number is on the top, that number is going to be your dividend, the number that you're going to be dividing with. The number on the bottom is your divisor. The divisor will always go on the outside, and the dividend will go under the symbol. Now let's take a look at our divisor, what goes on the outside. We can't write it like this as x plus 5. We have to solve for x. So if you were to take x plus 5 and set it equal to 0 and solve for x, you would need to subtract 5 from each side. And doing so, x would equal negative 5. And so that is the number that you're going to place on the outside. Instead of x plus 5, you're going to do the very opposite, negative 5, but we only want just the number. So as I said before, if you always solve for x, you'll always have the correct number that should be out there. Next, we want to just take just our coefficients and drop everything else. We don't need the variables. So the coefficient of the first term is 3. So drop the variables behind it. The coefficient of the second term is 20. Drop the variables. The coefficient of the third term is 21. Drop the variables. And the last term is negative 20. So in other words, take only the coefficients. Now that we have that in the correct form, we can begin the synthetic division process. The synthetic division process will always be a add and multiply, add and multiply. Another way to think of it is bring down, multiply, bring down, multiply, because you will be doing those methods repeatedly. So here we go. Step 1. Bring down your first term. So I'm going to bring down the 3, multiply that with negative 5 to get negative 15. Combine those numbers, bring down a 5, multiply that with negative 5 to get negative 25. Combine those numbers, bring down a negative 4, multiply that with negative 5 to get positive 20. Combine those numbers and you will bring down a 0. A 0 indicates that there is no remainder. So now we're ready to write our answer. Keep in mind that the synthetic division will only give you the coefficients. You have to go in and put in your variables. So here's how you do that. You look at the original polynomial. The original polynomial of all the degrees, the highest degree is a 3. So you're going to always write your answer as 1 degree less than the original polynomial. So when we go 1 degree less, we take 1 from that 3, take away 1 is going to give you 2. So we're going to write our answer starting with a degree of 2. The next term would be a degree of 1, and the last term will be your constant. So the answer is 3x squared plus 5x minus 4. That is your answer, and there you have it, the synthetic division method. Let's do one more example. Here we have x cubed minus 8 divided by x minus 2. Now one thing you may notice a little bit different in this problem, first of all, it is very short. And it's so short here up top that we're actually missing terms. It starts with a degree of 3 and it goes straight to your number. It should be degree 3, degree 2, degree 1, and then your number -8 at the end. So we need to fill in those missing terms. Otherwise, we cannot use the synthetic division method. So what you're going to do is use a 0 as a placeholder to fill in those missing values. But before we do that, I want to just see if you remember what we talked about in terms of the divisor. What would be the one number that's going to be on the outside of the divisor? Well, what was your answer? If you said 2, that is correct, because remember, if you were to solve x minus 2 equals 0, set it equal to 0, and solve for x, you would have to add 2 to each side, which means x would equal 2. So 2 is on the outside, and then notice we filled in those empty or missing values with a 0, but we still have their variable there. Now eventually we're going to drop those variables, but I wanted you to see what your coefficients would be. So let's go through and identify our coefficients. The coefficient of the first term is a 1. Remember, we don't put a 1, but we know it's there. The coefficient of the second term is 0. 0 for the third term. And the coefficient of the last term is a -8. So we're going to go ahead and take our coefficients along with our divisor so that we can begin the synthetic division process. So let's go ahead and begin by bringing down the 1. So bring down a 1, multiply that with 2 to get 2. Bring down a 2, multiply that with 2 to get 4. Bring down a 4, multiply that with 2 to get 8. Combine these and bring down a 0. So I see here we have a remainder of 0. The way we write our answer, remember, you're going to write your answer as 1 degree less than the original polynomial. It started with a degree of 3. We go down 1. And we begin our answer with a degree of 2. So our answer would be x squared plus 2x plus 4. And there you have it, the synthetic division process. Okay, let's do one more synthetic division method. So step 1 is to go ahead and set up the problem. So recall here we have a polynomial divided by a binomial. The polynomial is going to go under the division symbol and on the outside outer, or you're going to solve for x to place your divisor. So x would equal -2, and so -2 would go outside. Next, we want to drop all of our variables, because recall with synthetic division we only need just the coefficients only. And now we're ready to start the process. Step 1 is to bring down that first term farthest to the left, so we're going to bring down a 5. Multiply that with -2, the divisor there, to get -10. Combine these two numbers, the -6 and the -10, to bring down a -16. Multiply that with -2 to get +32. Combine the -28 and a +32 to bring down a 4. Multiply that with -2 to get -8. Once we combine the -2 and the -8, we're going to bring down a -10. And it is our last number, so therefore that is our remainder. So recall to write your remainder. Once you fill in your variables, you're going to write it as 1 degree less than the original polynomial. Our original polynomial starts with a degree of 3, that is the highest degree, so we're going to go down 1 degree to start our answer. So that's going to be 5x squared minus 16x plus 4, and recall to write the remainder
in the numerator is your remainder, and on the bottom will be your divisor. Put it back into the x plus 2 form, and there you have your answer. Now you can also write it anytime the top or the bottom of a fraction is negative, the whole entire fraction becomes a negative. So there you see is another alternative way of writing your answer as well. And so there you have it, synthetic division method.
Okay, that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching MVP Tutorials by your instructor, Dr. Speights. I hope you'll join me in the next lesson. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye for now.